Hey everybody. So, thanks for joining me for my top 10 figures of 2022. If you watched my previous video, I did a video of honorable mentions from the year. So, toys that I thought were really great, but for whatever reason, did not make it into my actual top 10 figures of the year. So now for this video, I'm going to show all of my favorite figures that came out starting at number 10, and these are in order of basically how much I like them. So number 10 is the DC Multiverse Deathstorm figure from McFarlane Toys. So this figure was part of the Atrocitus Build-A-Wave, and I just think this figure is very well done. Now, of course, Firestorm is one of my absolute favorite characters of all time. Not just one of my favorite DC characters, but just favorite character ever. I just have always had a love and fascination for Firestorm. So this basically evil Black Lantern version is right up my alley. I think that the sculpting and paint on the face and kind of that translucency on the, the head is really incredible. I love that we got a lantern with him. Of course, it helps that he came in a wave where I absolutely love the Build-A-Figure as well. So, and I love the Blackest Night story in general was fantastic. So, definitely this is my top DC Multiverse figure of the year. I just really, really think that this is a very well done figure. All right, so number 9 is kind of a surprise. I really thought that this guy was going to be quite a bit higher, but there's been some issues with this one, even for myself recently. But number 9 is the Super7 Ultimates Leatherhead figure. So I did a review of this figure when I got him way back when, and I really, really do love this figure. He would have been higher, but he's got some issues with his knee and hip articulation. A lot of people have had problems with getting theirs to stand. Now, I didn't have a lot of problems with mine until somewhat recently. Actually, a couple days ago, he took a tumble, and luckily I still had him on my shelf that's in my living room behind my couch. So when he fell, he actually fell on the couch. So he didn't break or anything. But now I'm kind of concerned because when I do put him with the other Super 7 TMNT bad guys, I'm a little worried now that he may just randomly take a tumble at any time, because he was standing fine for a couple months and then all of a sudden just fell. So that kind of knocked him down some rungs there on the top 10. And just he's fragile. A lot of people have broken the pegs on his belt. A lot of people have had problems with his accessories being very brittle, and a lot of people have had issues getting his tail on. Now, I haven't had any of those issues. Now, I did heat him up quite a lot when I, first got him, and I put his accessories on there, and I've been super careful with this figure. I also love the trap that he came with. I just think that this paint is, this metallic paint is really cool. So the accessories are absolutely on point. I feel like this figure is totally worth the price point. It's one of the, definitely one of the shining examples of what Super 7 can do. But he's definitely had his problems for sure. Still love the figure though, and he is number 9. All right, so now we're going to switch it up to a very different line of toys here for number 8. Number 8 is the Star Wars Black Series Darth Vader figure from the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. So this is very similar to the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader that we got a while back. Just very slight differences in the paint. And maybe some of the articulation is slightly different. But I just gotta say, Darth Vader is, probably my favorite Star Wars character of all. Yoda is probably a very close second. And I just love the story of Star Wars. It's just a very kind of epic, tale of this person's life and history. And it's very, very tragic. And it just gets you. It just kind of gets you in all the right kind of emotional buttons if you're really into it. So, just a huge fan of the character. And I love this figure. I mean, I had this figure on, my counter that's kind of between my living room and kitchen, which is kind of reserved for just the newest figures, and they usually sit there for about a week before I put them into the collection in their proper spot. But this figure was out for months, just admiring it and posing it in different ways. Right now, I kind of have him just kind of reaching out, doing the whole force choke thing, but I had him pose with his lightsaber for a while. And I love this figure. I think it's super well done. I've been very tempted in stores to just buy more of these just because I like it so much. And that's really a big reason, too, why it's in the top 10, is any figure where you already have it and you see it in the store and you almost buy it again just because you want it because it's so great and you love it so much, that's got to go in your top 10 for sure. So he's easy to find, not a bad price. So there you go. So the newest version of Darth Vader is number 8. All right, so for number 7, this does count in my mind as an action figure, but a little different here because this is the G.I. Joe Classified Fiona figure, which is just the crocodile that came with Crocmaster. Now, if you watched my honorable mentions video that I posted yesterday, I talked about how I was never a G.I. Joe collector as a kid, so G.I. Joe classified figures just do nothing for me in terms of nostalgia. I'm just not into it the way I'm into things like Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, that kind of thing. But this figure is awesome. And I actually bought 2 Crocmasters just so I could have 2 of these crocodiles. And I have them both posed together with all their little babies, and they have been on the shelf behind my couch since I got them. So they have been there for months, and honestly, I don't really have anywhere else to put them in my collection because I don't collect G.I. Joe classified figures. I just kind of use them for kit bashing, customizing, and then of course I have the Serpentor, which was in my honorable mentions video, which I still don't know where he's going to go either. But these are just awesome crocodiles. I mean, I took pictures with actually a figure that's coming up very soon here in the top 10. So I've taken pictures of these and posted them to my Instagram in all kinds of different ways. I mean, you can use these crocodiles with anything, with DC Marvel figures. You can use them with Masters of the Universe figures. You can put them with Slythe from Thundercats. It's like unlimited. They can go with 6-inch. They can go with 3 3/4-inch figures. It's just so fun. The articulation is great. The articulated mouth is fantastic. The legs, the bendy wire tail. This figure is really, really awesome. So I had to put Fiona in the top 10 of the year. I'm sure lots of people are going to include this. I really did not need the Crocmaster. I actually used the Crocmaster for a custom Red Lantern figure. But yeah, this figure is awesome. All right, so I think we are on number 6, I think. Let's see. Yep. So number 6 is going to be definitely a fan favorite figure. It's one that we got quite a while ago, but it is the Marvel Legends 20th anniversary Captain America figure. This figure is just absolutely wonderful. One of my favorite things that I did this year was I posted a picture of this figure along with the DC Classic Superman. I think I posted it on Election Day. I may have also posted some of a similar picture on 4th of July. But just, I mean, they go together so good. Just the DC Classic Superman and this version of Captain America, you know, very classic comic book characters, just really, really cool. I know a lot of people were kind of upset that, you know, he came with a shield that had holes in it so you could put the effect pieces in. And yeah, I mean, I get that. I totally understand that complaint. But what I did is this is actually the shield from the original Marvel Legends Captain America from 20 years ago, because I do actually have that figure. I just really like Captain America as a character. I think he's just, you know, one of those major flagship Marvel characters. And I just like, you know, for me, he's kind of the Superman of Marvel, just in terms of his attitude and his leadership ability and that kind of stuff. And I think, you know, for me, it was kind of a neat moment as a toy collector. It's like, you know, this is the 20th anniversary Captain America, amazing articulation, really, really great paint details. And now I'm kind of giving him the shield from that original Captain America figure. And I just think that's neat. It's like passing on the torch kind of a thing. So this figure is just really, really well done. And that's why he's in the top 10. All right, so I think we are halfway through here, and I'm going to cheat a little bit for this next one, because this next one is 2 figures that came in a 2-pack. I was super, super excited about these. I got very lucky because I was able to buy them during an online sale where a lot of people missed out, and then eventually they became available at Target. But we have the Toca and Razar TMNT NECA figure 2-pack. These guys are amazing. The movie versions were amazing. These cartoon versions are amazing. You know, I have always really, really loved the cartoon Razar, especially. It's kind of funny because I like the movie version of Toca better, and I like the cartoon version of Razar better. So, you know, it's kind of funny that it just kind of works out that way. But I just love these two. I love the paint, the detail. All the little accessories they came with in the 2-pack were really fun. You know, and they kind of match up pretty close with the vintage toys. At least Razar does. Toka's a little bit different. But, you know, you can pose these with, you know, your Super 7 turtles. You can pose them with your NECA turtles. You know, you can kind of even almost put them with the movie stuff too. So they're just really fun, really great figures, and I enjoy them very much. It kind of broke my heart to put them in the display with the other, you know, NECA cartoon bad guys, because I really wanted to leave these guys out as long as possible. I still really enjoy just kind of checking these guys out and looking at them, because I just think the paint detail, it's so good. And that's what we've come to expect from NECA. But yeah, very, very awesome versions of Toca and Razar. You know, probably some of my favorite TMNT villains. So sticking with NECA TMNT, we've got another figure from that company, but pretty different. It is the Michelangelo as the Mummy figure. So this is number 4 of my top 10 of 2022, and kind of a surprising one for me, because honestly, Michelangelo, probably my least favorite turtle of the 4. Now, don't get me wrong. I love all 4 of the Turtle brothers. You know, I have been a huge TMNT fan since I was 5 years old, and, you know, I still am. I've been, you know, just practically my entire life. I have loved the Ninja Turtles. And, you know, Raphael's my favorite turtle. What I actually did is I bought a second of these figures, and I painted his bandanas red so that I could have Raphael as the Mummy version because Raphael was the Mummy in the vintage toy line. That's how crazy I am. So I actually bought this figure twice. So, hey, if I'm buying a figure twice, you know it's got to be in the top 10. I mean, that's just how it goes. But this figure is so well done. The two different head sculpts, the sculpting detail on the bandages, the Ankh nunchucks, the snake that he came with, I gave that to Serpentor. But wow, this figure is amazing. I honestly think this is one of the best just NECA turtle figures of all. Like, out of all the lines, it's definitely the best for me out of the monster crossover. Just a fantastic figure. And, you know, the fact that it's Michelangelo and it's in my top 10 and it's so high up in my top 10, that really speaks volumes. It's a great figure, so highly recommend this guy. All right, so we are on to number 3. Number 3 is a Marvel Legends figure, and it is the SpiderMan retro-carded lizard figure. So this figure, I absolutely love this figure. The lizard is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and he is definitely my number 2 Marvel villain, because my favorite Marvel villain will always be Magneto. Still waiting on a super fantastic Magneto figure from Marvel Legends. I kind of kit bashed one together from, you know, various different figures. But yeah, so anyway. But yeah, the lizard is definitely my number 2 villain. You know, the fact that just a lot of things here. So first of all, it's a lizard, which I said in my honorable mentions video, I love anything reptilian. It's probably why I love the Ninja Turtles, and it's why I love anything that's snake or lizard themed. So I actually have the first name, the same first name as the lizard. So his name is Curtis Connors. My first name is Curtis. And he is, you know, a scientist. He's a biology professor. I am a biology professor. So it's like, look, we have the same name. We have the same job. We both like reptiles. How could I not love this character? And I really like the Build-A-Figure. I do have the Build-A-Figure from years ago. It's a super fun, you know, toy, but it's not quite the version of the lizard that I want. You know, I wanted this version, you know, the more kind of classic, you know, comic book / animated series version. And this figure does not disappoint. It has great articulation. I love the bendy wire tail. The alternate head, the alternate hands, just, you know, the bottles of the chemicals, just everything about this figure is a home run. You know, at first he was really hard to find, but then he became really easy to find. And that also, you know, it also helps, you know, to get into the top 10, as far as I'm concerned, is if you have a reasonable price and if you are easy to obtain. You know, if it's super impossible to find, it's probably not going to be in my top 10. But yeah, there you go. Marvel Legends Lizard is number 3. Now, the number 2 and number 1 spots I have gone back and forth with for weeks and weeks, because one of the figures I've had for a really long time, the other one I got much more recently, and I was trying to decide, you know, is this my favorite because it's newer? You know, or is this my favorite because it's bigger? You know, I really had a tough time with number 2 and number 1. And as of this very moment, I'm still second guessing myself, but I think I've made my decision. So number 2 of the top 10 action figures of 2022 is going to go to the Super7 Ultimates / figure. He was very close to the number 1 spot. In fact, he was number 1 for quite a while, in my mind, because I just love the vintage / figure. That was probably one of my absolute favorite of the vintage Ninja Turtle line. I just loved the look of him. I loved the color. I just loved everything about that vintage figure. So I knew that the Super 7 Slash was going to be my favorite of any of the other slashes that we got. So we got, we got the Archie Comics version this year. We got the video game version. We got the cartoon version, which was, not the best figure in the world. This is absolutely my favorite slash. It has the look of the vintage toy. I love the yellow and the pink against the darker green. The sculpting detail, like his skin, like his rough reptilian skin is really cool. I just love the pink color of the weapons and how it pops. The face sculpt is perfect. Just all these weapons, he has like the knife and the nunchucks, on his belt. He is ready for battle. He is ready to, just beat up pretty much anybody. Because, in the cartoon and stuff, he's been kind of like, an anti-hero as his grenade falls and explodes. But yeah, he's kind of more like to me, he's always kind of like an anti-hero. He's kind of like the Wolverine of the Ninja Turtle universe. He's not quite, a good guy. I mean, he's more a bad guy than a good guy, but he's not like a super, super bad guy like Shredder and Rocksteady and Bebop. So I just love the character. This figure's great. So he was very, very close to being number one, and he's only been slightly beat out by, honestly, probably the most surprising figure of the year for me. And it's a very new company in terms of making 6-inch action figures. But the number one action figure of 2022 for me is the Jada Toys Universal Monsters Wolfman figure. This one has come to a big surprise because, normally I am into Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, superheroes, just that kind of stuff. And this is just like a sleeper hit for me. I managed to find this figure a bit earlier. He's actually available now on Big Bad Toy Store at Entertainment Earth the last time I checked. But I managed to find this at retail price on Amazon, and I got him, I think a lot earlier than most people. I did a review on the channel, so check out the review of the Wolfman figure, and he is incredible. He is so fun. Just right out of the box, the articulation, the detail, the paint, you get an alternate head, you get those really, really great, movie-specific accessories. This figure is awesome. One of the best things about this figure is I don't worry about this figure falling or breaking. I can pose this figure in all kinds of wild poses. The articulation is just second to none. And, that's nice because with the higher end things from like NECA and Super7, a lot of those figures I really love, but I kind of worry about those figures a lot. You have to heat them up really good. You have to worry about things breaking. You have to worry about paint chipping. You have to worry about them randomly falling and knocking other figures down and breaking. And that kind of stinks, with this Wolfman figure, I've never worried about that. He is super sturdy. He's easy to stand up. He never falls over. You can just bend his elbows and knees, and it's so smooth, and it's just so easy to do. And he's fun. And, the thing is, yes, this is the Universal Monsters Wolfman. It's a movie from a very, very long time ago. But I feel like because of the scale, you can put him with your Marvel Legends. You can put him with DC Classics. He fits into other 6-inch, lines of toys, and it kind of works. He can just be a random Wolfman. He could be a good guy, he could be a bad guy, he could be whatever you want him to be. Even though obviously it's supposed to be the Universal Monsters Wolfman, you can put him in a Halloween display. You can put him with, magical characters from DC. Same thing with Marvel. It's just, he's so cool. He's such a fun figure. So yeah, the Jada Toys Wolfman is my number one figure of 2022. So Please tell me what you thought of my top 10 list. I would love to hear what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great 2023.